Hey everybody, and welcome back to Pathw.ai Talks. It's great to have you back with us for another episode. Last week, we had a ton of fun. Really interesting discussion.
It was.
We got a great response from all of you. So thanks for tuning in and for all the comments and questions. We love hearing from you guys. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into a typical workflow in steel detailing.
Okay, so let's get into the specifics of how Pathw.ai actually works.
Okay.
What are its main objectives?
Well, they've got two main objectives.
Okay.
The first is to accelerate project workflows.
Okay.
Make the whole process smoother and more efficient.
That makes sense.
And the second is to empower professionals to interact with historical design solutions intelligently,
Okay.
so they can learn from experience and avoid repeating mistakes.
So it's not just about doing things faster.
Right.
It's about doing them smarter.
Exactly.
Okay, so how do they achieve these objectives?
By creating this unified data platform
Okay.
that connects all the different stakeholders, tasks, and tools involved in a steel construction project.
Okay, so give me an example.
Okay, so imagine a structural engineer finishes their model in, say, SAP 2000.
Mm-hmm.
With Pathw.ai's plugins, they can upload that model directly to the platform.
Making it instantly accessible to everyone else on the project.
So no more emailing giant files back and forth.
Exactly.
Wow, that's going to be a huge time saver.
It is, and it also reduces the risk of errors.
Right, because everyone's working from the same version of the model.
Precisely.
Okay, so let's say I'm a fabricator,
Okay.
and I've just received a structural model.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of waiting for a detailed report
Yeah.
or sifting through mountains of spreadsheets,
Right.
I can jump right into Pathw.ai
Exactly.
and see exactly what sections are being used,
Right.
where the connections are,
Yeah.
what kind of loads they'll be carrying.
Exactly. You've got all that information at your fingertips.
That's amazing.
And it allows you to spot potential problems or ask clarifying questions much earlier in the process.
Oh, that's really valuable.
It is. It's all about early visibility.
Right, because if you can catch those problems early on,
Yeah,
you can avoid costly rework down the line.
exactly. It's much easier to make changes in the design phase
Right.
than it is once construction has already begun.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's for fabricators. What about detail designers?
Okay, so for detail designers, Pathw.ai can really streamline their workflow.
Okay.
Imagine you're tasked with creating a complex connection
Okay.
with hundreds of nodes. Instead of having to manually sort through all those nodes and figure out which ones are similar,
Right.
Pathw.ai does it for you.
Really?
Yeah, it automatically groups similar nodes together,
Wow.
making it easy to apply consistent design solutions
Yep.
and saving you hours of tedious work.
That's incredible.
And it also highlights the critical load combinations
Okay.
that will determine the final design.
Okay.
And it ensures that all the force data for a connection
Mhm.
is accurately mapped to a single reference node.
A reference node.
Yeah, so in steel detailing, a reference node is essentially a central point
Okay.
that's used to define the geometry and forces acting on a connection.
Okay.
It's like the anchor point for all the calculations and analysis.
Gotcha. So by ensuring that all the force data is accurately mapped to this reference node,
Yeah.
Pathw.ai makes it much easier for detail designers to transfer that data into their design software.
Exactly. And it eliminates the risk of errors that can occur when you're trying to manually transfer data from one program to another.
Right.
Instead of generating traditional engineering reports that fragment the data,
Okay.
Pathw.ai encourages detailers to upload all their calculations design notes and
Man.
related information directly to the platform.
So it's like building a centralized knowledge base for each project.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And this has a number of advantages.
Like what?
Well, for one, it creates organized project libraries
Okay.
that are easily searchable and accessible for future reference.
That's got to be a relief for any engineer who's ever felt like they're reinventing the wheel on every new project.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it also makes it much easier to track project progress,
Okay.
see who's working on what.
Mm-hmm.
And importantly, it facilitates seamless collaboration among colleagues.
Like everyone can see the latest updates and provide feedback in real time.
So it's like having a virtual whiteboard where everyone can contribute their ideas and work together to solve problems.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
And another really neat feature
Okay.
is that when a detailer finalizes a design in Pathw.ai,
Mm-hmm.
it automatically sends a notification to the draftsman,
Okay.
who can then access all the information they need directly from the platform.
So they don't have to recreate the design from engineering reports.
Exactly.
That's got to save a ton of time and effort.
It does.
Yeah.
And it also reduces the risk of errors.
Okay, so it sounds like Pathw.ai is really trying to streamline the entire design process.
It is.
From the initial structural model all the way to the final CAD drawings.
That's right.
And there's one more scenario I'd like to touch on,
Oh.
which is the interaction between fabricators and detail designers.
Right.
Now, those two groups often have different priorities and ways of working,
Yeah.
which can lead to conflicts and delays.
So how does Pathway address that?
By allowing fabricators to upload templates of their preferred connections to the platform,
Okay.
and these templates are then automatically suggested to engineers during the design process.
So instead of having to go back and forth with multiple revisions,
Yeah,
the engineer can start with a design that the fabricator is already happy with.
exactly.
That's fantastic.
And it saves everyone time and effort.
Okay, so give me an example.
Okay, so let's say a fabricator has a preferred shear connection design.
Mm-hmm.
Pathway will make sure that the engineer sees that template as an option.
Okay.
This alignment of preferences can really minimize the back and forth communication, and it helps to avoid costly rework down the line.
So it's like having a matchmaking service for steel connections.
I love that.
Yeah.
It really highlights the power of Pathway's unified data approach
Right.
by connecting everyone involved in the project
Yeah.
and providing them with access to the same information. Pathway creates a more collaborative, efficient, and ultimately more successful construction process.
That's fantastic.
It is, and the crazy thing is, we've
Right.
only just scratched the surface.
Okay.
Yeah, next week, we're going to dive into how custom and third-party libraries can actually be used to turbocharge Pathway's functionality.
Okay.
It's a whole other level of efficiency and customization.
I'm definitely coming back for that episode.
I'll see you then.
I can't wait to learn more.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
And we'll see you all next time.